Today we're going over Chapter 24 of the Silmarillion, of the Voyage of Earendil and the War of Wrath. If you're new here, welcome to Heart of a Halfling, where we talk about Lord of the Rings and do some Lord of the Ring things. So let's get started. So this chapter begins with Eärendil now ruling over the elves, those left of Gondolin and of Doriath. He marries Elwing. They have two sons, or twins, Elrond and Elros, who are named the Half-Elven. Now, Eärendil longs to go to the sea, longs to find out what happens to his parents, and with the help of Círdan, builds a boat named Vingalot, and with 3 mariners, he sails off west. Now, after some time, he can't find anything, and he misses Elwing, so he decides to return back to Beleriand. Well, during this time that Eärendil is gone, Madros learns that Elwing is still alive, and that she has the Silmaril. So at first, he kind of leaves it alone, doesn't say too much about it, but the curse weighs on him. So he sends the messengers out to Elwing saying, kind of this illusion of friendship, but sternly asks for the Silmarils back. Well, Elwing obviously rejects this. So Madros decides Eärendil is gone. This is the perfect time to attack. And so he gathers Maglor, Amrod, and Amras, the last of the sons of Feanor, and they all gather their troops and they go and attack the group. Well, they get there and it's a massacre. Everybody pretty well dies. Elwing sees that Madros has taken Elrond and Elros. She believes that they've been taken captive and are about to be killed. She sees everybody around her dying. Círdan and Gil-galad are not there yet. She doesn't even know if they're going to be able to make it. And she doesn't want the sons of Feanor to get the Silmaril. Now, at this point, Amrod and Amras have died in this. So the only two that are left are Madros and Maglor. But they're coming after her with the Silmaril, so she decides all hope is lost. So she's going to throw herself into the ocean. And in doing this, Omo grabs her, turns her into a bird, and with this white bird with a glowing chest because of the Silmaril, she flies off to Eärendil. Now, Círdan and Gil-galad do arrive, but it's way too late. And Elros and Elrond are taken captive with Madros and Maglor. Now, when Elwing is flying toward Eärendil, it says that he sees this large white cloud just quickly flying towards them. And as it gets closer, he realizes it's a bird, and the bird just comes right up to him. And it says that he holds the bird for a time, and it's not till the morning light that he sees that it's Elwing. And both believe that, she tells them what's happened, so they believe that Elrond and Elros are dead. All of their family is gone. They've lost so much. The only thing that they have left is the hope of the Valar. So now, with the aid of the Silmaril, they go towards Valinor. Now, what they don't know is that Elrond and Elros are not dead, that Maglor has taken pity on them, and that the 3 actually have a lot of love for one another. And so Elrond and Elros are still alive. So, in traveling to Valinor, with the aid of the Silmaril, they're able to get past the Enchanted Isles, the Shadowy Mist, everything, and they get to the shores of Valinor. Now, Eärendil tells Elwing and the 3 mariners to not leave the ship. They are to remain on the ship. They don't know what's going to happen to any of them if they get on shore, if there's going to be a punishment there. And so he tells them, remain on the ship. So he begins to go off. However, Elwing, who's lost so much at this point, decides she's not going to lose her husband as well, and she'll take on the full punishment if need be. And so she goes off to go after Eärendil to the shore. Now, when they get to the shore, Eärendil does convince Elwing not to go any further, to stay here. And he goes into the Kalakita and begins to go to Tirion, and it is empty. There's no one here. And Eärendil is worried that some great evil has come and has destroyed all of the Valar, and that there's no one here. Their only hope is now gone. So he begins to walk back towards the Kalakira when he hears someone call out his name, saying, "Hail, Eärendil." And he turns around, and it's Eonwe, the herald of Manwë, and tells him, "Hey, we've known you were coming. Come on, we need to go to the council." And so Eärendil didn't realize that the reason why everybody was gone was that there was a big festival and everybody was in Valimar. And so he's taken to council with the Valar, and here he pleads his case. He pleads for the forgiveness of the Noldor and of elves and men. And the Valar are like, yeah, that sounds great. And they, kind of dismiss Eärendil, tell him to go and find his wife. And so he goes off. Well, during this time that he was gone, Elwing was walking down the shore and found Alquilunde. And when she gets there, she meets all the Teleri and tells them about everything. Tells them about Thingol and Doriath and all of their kin and everything. And so they hear about this and they're all in awe. And here comes Eärendil. Now the Valar are still in council. And now the question is, should Eärendil and Elwing be allowed to remain in the Undying Lands? They are half elf and half man. And Omo makes the argument of which one are they more? Is Eärendil more of the House of Hador or of the House of Finwë? And so the argument, kind of goes back and forth, and they decide, well, let's let Eärendil, Elwing, Elrond, and Elros all decide which fate they want to align with, if they want to align with the fate of elves or with men. So Eonwe goes to Eärendil and Elwing. They're called back into council, and they're given the choice. And Eärendil tells Elwing that he wants her to choose, and whatever she chooses, he'll go along with. So Elwing decides she would rather be a part of the fate of elves because of Luthien. And Eärendil agrees. He goes along with this, though it does say that he would have aligned with the fate of men, but he doesn't want to be without his wife, so he goes with the fate of elves. So now the question is what to do with the Silmaril. So the Valar, they decide that they're going to make Vengelat a holy ship. So they take the 3 mariners that were in that ship, move them into another ship, and send them back to Valerian. And so now Vengelat is a holy ship. The Silmaril is on the brow of Eärendil, and he is now commanded to sail the oceans of the heavens. And the Silmaril is now able to be seen in the morning and in the evening. And it becomes this star of hope to all in Beleriand. And it's called Gil Estel, the star of high hope. However, Madros, in seeing the star, tells Maglor, that's a Silmaril. I know that is a Silmaril. And Maglor goes, good. Now it's away from us. It can't cause any more destruction. And everybody can enjoy its light. Which I think is really sweet of Maglor. Now, Morgoth doesn't expect an assault. He doesn't expect an attack or anything like that. He still believes that he has been successful in destroying the elves, has been successful in sundering the Valar and the Noldor. So even if there are a few Noldor remaining, the Valar aren't going to come to help him. So he thinks he's golden and everything's fine. However, the Valar and the Vanyar are gathering up supplies, getting ready to go into battle to go and fight Morgoth. Now, Elwing manages to convince the Teleri to go and aid. They obviously don't want to, but they're like, fine, we'll help in the endeavor. And so basically what they do is just carry everybody over, but they refuse to get off their ships. Now the Vanyar and the Valar go and fight. It does say that in the fighting, there are 3 houses of men that aid the Valar. You have the house of Hador, Bjor, and Haleth. They help in the fight against Morgoth. However, every other house of men that came over with Uldor and any that came later on from the east are all fighting along with Morgoth. Now, this fight is huge. It's the great battle. It's the War of Wrath. It causes the land to change, and Falgleth is barely able to contain the destruction of this battle. And the Valar are just destroying all of the hosts of Morgoth. The orcs are practically destroyed. Balrogs are almost either all killed or they go off in hiding. I mean, it is a successful fight. Morgoth is hiding away in his caves and his mines, and he lets out his last bit of hope, and he releases the dragons. Now, the Valar don't know what to do about this. They haven't encountered this before, and so it actually causes them to back up. But as they begin to retreat, Eärendil shows up in Vingalot with a group of the birds all around him, all being led by Thorindir, king of the eagles, and they all go flying, and now we have this grand battle in the sky. And Eärendil slays Ancalagon, the black dragon, the mighty dragon. He slays him, and when he kills the dragon, he falls right onto the towers on Thangorodrim, crushing them and ruining them. And the battle is won. It's successful. They go in, and they grab Morgoth, and he's chained in the same chains that he had to suffer before. And they take his iron crown. They remove the Silmaril, and they take it and they make it into a collar. Now it's a collar on Morgoth, a sign of humiliation for him. And so now everything is grand. And the Silmarils are given to Eönwë to guard. Morgoth is now kicked out of Arda, sent into the void and the abyss that's now guarded by Eärendil. So Eärendil guards the void in Arda. So now Eönwë has the Silmarils, while Madros and Maglor are like, this is our chance. Well, particularly Madros. Maglor is like, just leave it be. Eönwë now calls all the elves of Beleriand together and says that they have to leave Beleriand. They need to go back to Valinor. And at this time, Eönwë gives Elrond and Elros their decision on who they want to align their fates with. Elrond chooses the fate of elves, and Elros chooses the fate of men. And from that line, we eventually get the Dunedain. Now, there are many elves that decide they want to stay in Beleriand, and there are many that choose to go back to Valinor. Now, Madros and Maglor are told that they have to come to Valinor. That if they want the Silmarils, they need to go before the Council of the Valar and basically be pardoned. That their ownership of the Silmarils are null and void. It does not matter. They've corrupted themselves way too much. They've been a part of 3 kinslayings now. They have no right to the Silmarils. And Madros and Maglor kind of have this moment of going back and forth. And Maglor is like, let's just go. Let's go and just deal with what happens. If we're pardoned, then great. Maybe we get the Silmarils. And if we're not, then that's okay too. We deserve it. But ultimately, the Silmarils will be safe and they won't be able to cause any more destruction. Well, Madros is like, no, they're ours. This is our chance to get them. If we try to go back to Valinor and they don't give us the Silmarils, we're still bound by the oath and we still have to get them. And now it's going to be much harder for us to attain the Silmarils. And so there's just back and forth, and Maglor eventually concedes and goes, okay, fine. And Madros was like, see, like, there's only 2 Silmarils left and only 2 sons of Feanor. This is fate. So they sneak into the camp of of Eönwë. They kill many of the guards, and they take the Silmarils. Each has a Silmaril now. And all of the camp guards now awake, they're alert to this attack, and they go to kill Maedhros and Maglor, but Eönwë is like, nope, just let them have it, just leave it alone. And so Maedhros and Maglor are able to escape. However, Maedhros finally realizes that Eönwë was right. He has no ownership to the Silmaril. It is burning his hand. It's null and void. It doesn't belong to him. And he's mad and furious at all of this, at the silly oath, at this thought that he had ownership. He's just mad. And so with the Silmaril in hand, he throws himself into a fiery chasm, bringing the Silmaril into fire and earth. Maglor also, it's burning his hand, and he's on the shores, and he decides he doesn't want to do this anymore, and he throws the Silmaril into the ocean. And it says that he stays on the shore forever, singing, being one of the most beautiful voices. And so he's just roams the shore singing a song of sorrow and regret. This now fulfills the prophecy that the Silmarils will be in the air, fire, earth, and water. Now, the elves that chose to leave Beleriand, they go to Tol Eressëa, and the Teleri forgive them and think everything's okay, and so, they're fine there. And the Noldor are pardoned by the Valar, they're forgiven, and there are still elves that choose to remain in Middle-earth, including Círdan, Celeborn, Galadriel, Gil-galad, and Elrond all remain in Beleriand. So with Morgoth out in the void, Eärendil is guarding, we have the end of the Silmaril. Now, although Morgoth is gone, it says that the evil and the corruption, the rumors, the lies, all the seeds of deceit are still growing, and they're still there, and that they'll remain until the end of time. And so here ends the Silmaril, and it fulfills the song, the music of the Ainur. And if there is any correction or aid to the marring of Morgoth, only Manwë and Varda know, and they have yet to reveal it. So there we go. We have finished the course of the Silmarils. Now, we're not done with the Silmarillion. We have 2 more sections left. I'm very excited for them. I don't want to talk too much about this chapter right now. I have some thoughts and things, particularly with Maedhros. I will be doing a video just on the life of Maedhros and my thoughts on him. But quick little notes. Elwing, that I forgot to mention. Elwing, because Eärendil is flying, Elwing doesn't really enjoy flying, so she's given a tower sort of north of Alqualande. And here, birds of the sea come to kind of take rest, and because she was once a bird, she learns the language of birds, and they teach her how to fly. And when Eärendil gets kind of close to Valinor, she'll go and fly and greet him, and I think that's just super sweet. My heart really goes out to Elwing. She has lost so stinking much. At first, I was like, kind of confused why she would just throw herself into the ocean, knowing that her sons were out there, but really, like, she was thinking more of the world and of her people and not just her sons. So the decision she made was a very brave one in deciding basically to give her life to protect everybody else from the Sons of Fëanor getting the Silmaril. But also, the image of her flying and just thrusting herself into the chest of Eärendil and him holding her, like, the sorrow she had to feel because she believed her sons were dead. And to know in her mind that she's lost everything. She's lost her parents. She's lost her brothers. She's lost, Doriath. And now all that remain from Doriath are all gone. All of her family and friends, they're all gone. Her sons are now gone. All she has left is her husband. And there's just something so sad about that. And you can see, like, the choices that she makes sort of have that in mind. Like, the idea of remaining an elf And I don't know if they were informed at that time that their sons were still alive, but the choice to like remain an elf and in the Undying Lands, basically in paradise, I don't know. And the choice to not be able to, not to separate herself from her husband, that she didn't care what the punishment was. She was going to be with her husband because she wasn't going to lose him too. And the idea of remaining basically immortal to stay with her husband, I don't know. You see this image of her just making choices of, I'm not going to lose the one thing I have left, which was Eärendil. And I think that's really, really sad. And I hope it was a joyful moment. I'm assuming she would eventually find out that her sons were still alive. And the moment that, her and Elrond finally get to like reunite in the end, in thousands of years later. But still, like, I don't know. I find that sweet and kind of sad, and it's a bittersweet feeling. We finally get the Valar doing something, and that's super exciting. They're out there. Morgoth is scared witless, which is always exciting to see. But yeah, this was a good chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed. We will be talking about Madros and all of his crazy decisions, and a little bit of Maglor and Elrond and Elros and that, because that's a weird dynamic in my opinion. I don't know, but we'll talk about it on our next video. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed week, and may your homes be filled with food and cheer. Bye!